Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, BSF Canada, and Syngenta Canada.
Joining us here on the Soybean School, we're pleased to welcome Kim Brown of Manitoba Agriculture. And when Kim joins us, it's usually one topic that we're talking about, and that is herbicide resistance. This time specifically in kochia. Kim, fill us in on what we're seeing right now when it comes to the tools in the toolbox for fighting and controlling kochia.
Yeah, thanks. Kochia's always been a bit of an issue, especially here in Manitoba, especially in the dry years, part of the southern half of the province where we have a little bit more salinity going on. But it has really exploded in these last few years because of some dry conditions. And we're really noticing, we're losing some of the products that we've traditionally had. We know the biggest one, obviously, is glyphosate resistance. And, that's been growing for a number of years now. And I would say it's pretty much full-blown widespread resistance. We haven't done an official study in a few years. I would think we're 85 or 90% glyphosate resistant kochia in the province. I would say just assume it's all kochia resistant. If you don't have full-blown glyphosate resistant kochia yet, you will. And so that's obviously the biggest one. When we've lost the ability to use glyphosate to go after kochia, that's the first and biggest one that's causing a tremendous amount of grief.
Mm-hmm. Other groups as well, though.
Yeah, we know that we've got some group 4 resistance showing up now. It's slowly coming on. It's not, again, we haven't done an official study now in a while, but we are seeing it elsewhere, and we know that we're starting to lose our dicamba, our fluroxypyr. Those are 2 group 4 products that we've used very extensively to go after canola in the past, and we know we're starting to lose our group 14s as well. That is really new, just in the last year or two, but we do know in Saskatchewan, in North Dakota, and we've got confirmed cases in in Manitoba and in Alberta as well of group 14 resistant kochia. So we're losing those products as well.
Yeah, which is too bad because group 14s were a tool that we had kind of gone back to for some of this, for help in controlling this.
Yeah, especially with pre-emerge. Now, kochia, is a warm season weed, but it actually comes up surprisingly early in the spring. And so when we're doing our spring burn-offs, we were quite often using a really good group 14 product, and we were finding, to go after that kochia first thing and take those populations down early in the year. I mean, kochia is a flushing weed, so we're going to have more come later as well. But, you take out that initial population, you've got to get that out of the way because it's ahead of the crop. And so, losing those tools, losing your glyphosate and your group 14 in that pre-burn is really a blow.
Have you noticed any differences, or have there been any anecdotal observations, I guess, maybe of differences between types of group 14 and the different approaches there?
Yeah. Well, we haven't done a lot of that testing in Manitoba, but they are doing testing. Charles Geddes with Ag Canada in Lethbridge is doing some testing. They're doing some testing down in the U.S. There are some differences, and some of the group 14s are still holding for now. The soil-applied group 14s may be holding out a little bit longer than some of the foliar-applied 14s, but it just depends on the actual chemistry. But overall, usually once we start to see resistance to a group, we'll fairly quickly get resistance to all of the different herbicides within that group. So there's it's a group 14, but within that group 14 there's several different families, and so far most of the families are showing some type of resistance when it comes to kochia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does the future of kochia control and management look like in this part of the world, Kim?
Well, we still have some really good products in some other crops. Maybe not all crops have good products left in them. We've got our group 27s. They do a really good job, and so we've got those. We've got some products available in wheat. When it comes to other crops, though, we are losing some products, and so we're relying heavily now on some contact herbicides that we really haven't, those weren't our go-to products before, but they are now because we're kind of running out of other options.
So that would include glyphosate then?
Yeah, glyphosate like our Liberties, our Pardner, which is bromoxynil, and again, those are things that we would have never thought that we needed to go after kochia with, but sometimes we don't really have much else left. So then, the whole challenge is to get the messaging out there, to be watching our, making sure that we're using the right products. And when we're using these products, because they are contact herbicides, then it's so crucial to have good water, have lots of it, spray properly, the right nozzles, the right conditions for that product to work. Just do everything we can to make those products last as long as we can.
All right. Any other tips then in terms of stewardship when it comes to maintaining control over kochia?
Just really, diversity is the key. I guess that's the big thing, and that's been shown again and again over the years, is that crop diversity is the key. You've got to switch things up, and then within that crop, grow within every crop in that rotation. Make sure that crop is grown as best you can. So it needs to so all the agronomics count. So it's seeding rate, it's seeding rate, it's cultivar choice. Some are more, depending on the crop, some are taller than others, some are more, cover the ground a little quicker than others when it comes to soybeans. Some are bushier, some are thinner. When it comes to, cereals, you've got tall versus short varieties. Your seeding rate you can play with, row spacing you can play with, depending on what you've got for equipment. But do everything you can with that, with fertility, with all of your other non-chemical means to control those weeds, because your best herbicide out there is a really competitive crop. And then within that crop, make sure you're using whatever tools you can, whatever they are, make sure you're using them properly. So you're doing your best you can with, like I said, with water volume, with spray coverage, making sure you're doing all those things so that you make every drop count.
All right. Thank you for your time again today, Kim.
Okay, thanks.